Welcome to another Software Snacktime Snippet presented by XTIVIA. My name is Debbie Pollard. I'm a cloud software consultant at XTIVIA, and I'm joined today by...
Hi, I'm Robert Gurnick, cloud software product consultant at XTIVIA.
Hello, hi, I'm Sarit Chalamish, a channel partner manager over at Monday.com. Pleased to be here.
So today we're going to be talking about don't bring your old pains to a new platform.
Yeah, and we've been talking about this often, right, Debbie and Robert, when we join prospects and clients sometimes on calls to discover and unearth why they come to Monday. It's very interesting, right? Sometimes a prospect would have a very specific thing they're trying to replicate, right? They've been doing this in Excel for 20 years, and now they want this to be done on Monday. So what do you guys think? How do we address that?
Well, I think it's really interesting to find out what they're currently using. What tools are they using to manage their current processes? So I think that's really important to find out, because we want to really find out what with these processes, what they're challenged with. And so we don't want them to, take their Excel spreadsheet or their SharePoint information and just put it in Monday.com. We want to talk about these processes and kind of tweak them and make them more efficient and really solve their problems. Don't you think that's kind of our job?
I agree wholeheartedly, Debbie. I think you just summarized it. And the other day, Robert and I were on a call and we were saying, guys, time out. Let's think for a second. What are we trying to achieve? I mean, leave the platform alone. We're here to talk to you because we've seen it all. We've worked with multiple businesses, different industries, right, Robert? Can you kind of share with the audience today how we addressed it?
Yeah, so I after speaking with them, I thought that we would use this opportunity or that, the opportunity to recommend, a whiteboard of what needs to happen, the steps they need to take to rethink their processes and really help them work smarter, right? And then to utilize those features of Monday, like automations to save time on repetitive work and workflows to make sure everything is flowing the way it's supposed to through the organization to the right people.
100%.
So Sarit, one of the key benefits of Monday.com is that we're able to integrate our customers' existing tools. And so let's talk about that a little bit. I know that I think it's really important that our customers know what those tools look like that we can integrate. So
100%.
can we look at that?
Sure thing, Debbie and Robert. So one thing that I think is very important to note with Monday, and we see it as a key value of the platform of our Work OS, is the ability to integrate with a lot of very important pieces of software that obviously our customers are enjoying and using. Obviously, we do not live in a silo or in a void. Everybody's using different systems. And the nice thing about using the Monday Work OS is the ability to bring all those things that you're already using, be it HubSpot, let's say, if you are a marketer, or your Salesforce, if you are a salesperson. If you live in Jira, you can also integrate your Jira instance into Monday. Now, what that gives you is a really nice ability to then say, okay, if I have items living in Salesforce, I want this to kind of come to a single point of reference to this connective tissue being Monday, and to start doing my work in a way that's visible. So I don't know how many of you encounter this, but not everybody has a Salesforce license at a company. It's normally just the people who do biz ops and the salespeople. But guess what? Many times you want to know. You want to know what deals are coming. You want to know what to forecast, what to do next month and next quarter. So having that layer of visibility is extremely helpful. Now, granted, you don't have to make everything visible. You can have permissions around certain boards and workspaces, but just wanted to offer that as a thought.
And so what would be the top tools that a lot of people are, that we're coming across that are using?
Right. So I would say a good place to kind of see what the top items are that people are bringing into Monday. When you go to the ad board, a lot of times people just choose to import their data, and you can see those are areas that are very, very popular. So your Excel or Google Sheets, your other tools such as Asana, Trello, Basecamp, some of the Facebook ads are popular, and then Zendesk and Jira. So those, I would say, are very, very important to the extent that we actually have an import feature for them. Now, that being said, we also have a lot more that could be added in the way of if this, then that, right? If something happens in the system, send a message in Twilio. It's one of my favorite integrations, actually. So when a new item is created, send an SMS to someone. So if you're a Monday user and a Twilio user, how cool is that, right? Imagine if you are, I don't know, an HVAC company, and you want to let your customer know that you're coming to service their home. Well, guess what? You don't have to do too much. If you have a list of your customers and their phone numbers, you can actually create that as a recipe. And whenever you come, and hopefully you have a lot of business coming your way, you can just click it. You can create a specific SMS text, and it will always do the same thing. So every time you go to service a customer, you will click on that column, and it will just fire away. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to sit down in your car and start texting and maybe having some typos. No, none of that. Just work smarter.
So getting back to, don't bring old pains to a new platform. So we're able to whiteboard the processes, outline them, and then tweak them and make them improve the processes by using integration and some other features of Monday.
Correct. So I think one thing to be said about that, Robert and Debbie, is, listen, we have existing processes. Everybody does, right? That's how we do our work. We're all kind of 21st century employees working with lots of data, and we might want to change what we do, right? And the nice thing is you don't have to start from scratch. So here I picked like a random, let's just collapse, you can see everything. I just picked a monthly meeting summary board. Now, let's say somebody couldn't join a meeting, somebody was, I don't know, out sick, etc. We have a very good way of just capturing what we do as a company. Now, we will have the summary notes. We will have some highlights. For instance, we want to say, today we spoke about HR and leadership, for instance. And then as we keep going, we can add a Zoom meeting. In the past, you might have not had Zooms in your tech stack, but as you added it, you can then add it to your process, so to speak. If you want to add something else, right, you can add other columns to your workflow and just make it more robust as you go along. So yeah, so one other thing I was going to show, right, we kind of created this process from scratch. We're working on some, RFPs, for example. And what we added are just the things we think are useful. We want to look at the phase, right? Like, let's start from here. Let's start from scratch. We want to talk about who's doing it, who's the person. We want to see which country, because it matters, right? We want to know which country is this RFP from. We want to know what phase they're in. And we created this completely from scratch with, just editing the different labels. We want to know what's the name of the company, if there is a link, etc. Now, submission date, definitely important for RFPs, but this was not something we took from a template. We just put in what we thought might be useful to capture. Files, when was this created? How many days do we have to work on it, which is actually a pretty neat formula. And we can add new ones as we go along. If we feel like we need another status to be able to slice and dice the information better, why not? Let's do it. Let's bring it on.
Well, that concludes the Software Snacktime Snippet. Thank you for joining us, and thank you, Sarit and Robert, for joining us and sharing all that information. And come back next week for another Software Snacktime Snippet.